Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am your host, Vortex, from MobileMusicPro.com, your home for mobile music production. And if you are new to the channel, what we do here is release weekly videos teaching people how to produce music on their iOS device. And in today's video, we're going to be showing you how you can easily sample any physical instrument using just your iPhone or iPad, right after this. And remember folks, if you do enjoy this content, please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Now believe it or not, there's actually a ton of different use cases for wanting to sample physical instruments into digital form, such as maybe not wanting to carry around all that heavy equipment, or preserve a preset that you worked really hard to create on your favorite modular synth. The possibilities really do become endless once that audio reaches the digital world. And actually another great use case is to save on CPU by sampling digital instruments, because you can actually sample some presets from those heavyweight soft synths and then run several instances of those inside of sampler apps, which will end up taking far less CPU than actually running several instances of those synths. Plus, stick around to the end of the video to find out how you can save 50% on our brand new rock drum pack called Crash. Alright, and now with that intro aside, let's hop right into SynthJacker and start taking a look around. Now for this demonstration, we will be using the Audiolayer app, and we'll be sampling from AudioKit's Digitalism 2000. And then we'll be using the drums from our brand new drum sample pack called Crash. But first up, let's familiarize ourselves with this app and go through a quick walkthrough. Now first up, you do have a couple of different choices for your sample source. As you can see here, we can choose an external instrument, or we can choose an audio unit plugin. And sampling both is pretty much the exact same process, except inside of the external instrument, you can set a few things like MIDI destination and MIDI channel. But for now, let's stick to the audio unit recording. And then from there, you just choose your instrument and your factory preset. Here we're going to choose Digitalism from AudioKit, so we can just scroll down here and find Digitalism. We'll check that and hit back. And then if the app does broadcast its presets, you'll find those in the factory preset list here. So let's scroll down to see what we're going to choose. And we're going to choose the Dreamscape EP preset. And then next up, we're just going to give it a name. So we've already chosen Epic Dream, as we went and tested this before we started recording, but for now, we're going to change this to Epic Dream 2. And then next up, you're going to choose your notes from note and to note. Now, of course, this is going to vary depending on what type of sound you're sampling. Here, we're sampling more of a pluck, so we're going to stay up into the high registers here. You can see it between C3 and C4. But if you are sampling something like a bass, then you want to choose lower notes than that, perhaps something like C1 to C2. And then next up, we have our semitones in between the notes. Now, you can have it sample every single semitone if you'd like, but of course, that will eat up a lot of space. So generally, people choose every third semitone. Now this is really cool because this can record sounds based on how hard you hit the notes. So this works really well for things like round robins, or just giving you more options for your synth. Now by default here, this does choose 60, 80, and 120, but we've chosen to go with 127 here, which is the max. So we can get a loud, crisp version of this pluck. And you can see here the total note count is going to be 15. And that's going to be every third note between C3 and C4. Now the next up is the timing part, and this is a little tricky to dial in, depending again what sound you use. Now for us, we're just going to be using a pluck, but there is a little bit of reverb tail in there. So I've chosen a pretty high note decay here in the 3-second range. And after that, I chose a little bit higher note length. I probably should have changed this to 1.2, 1.3, but 1.5 will work. And then finally, you have your gap in between the notes. And this is set by default to 0.5 seconds. Now that we have all of these different settings ready to go, we can now start sampling our instrument. But if you'd like to preview what this is actually going to sample, you can just hit the play button here. And this will play out the notes that it will use to record. And then what's really cool is after the sampling is complete, it does create a MIDI file so that you can use that to sample something else if you'd like. Now to start sampling, what you're going to do is simply hit the record button. And what that's going to do is record and create all the necessary files and place them in the Files app inside of your SynthJacker directory. And you can actually change some of those settings on how it actually names the files by tapping on the gear icon in the top right hand corner. Once you tap on that, you can see that you can choose a bunch of different options here, including the output format, the sequence name, how you'd like to actually separate the information from dashes to underscores and spaces, and if you'd like to include a few things like the 3-digit velocity and the 3-digit note information. And then finally, you can set the folder structure here with the options of flat, by note, and velocity. Here we're just going to use a flat folder structure so that it copies all the files into one single folder. Alright, now we are ready to go, so let's start sampling. Now this is going to record the sequence, and what I'm going to do is skip forward and fast forward a little bit so you don't have to wait for this whole thing to complete. Alright, there we go. As you can see, SynthJacker has completed the process. It has copied all 48 files and created the MIDI. So now let's browse to the SynthJacker folder and take a look at these files. We'll just use our Files app here. Scroll down to the SynthJacker folder, There we go. Now, as you can see, we have the first instrument that we created called Epic Dream, and then here's our brand new instrument that we just created called Epic Dream 2. Within this folder, you'll find all the different files notated and named accordingly. And you'll find that MIDI file that I spoke about that it actually used to create these audio files. Now that we have that all set to go, we can begin importing into Audiolayer. Alright, now that we have our files prepped, we've opened Audiolayer, so let's begin the import process. So first up, what we want to do is create a brand new instrument. So we're going to tap on the presets here at the top of the screen, and let's go to the very bottom here and tap on New Instrument. Let's give this a name, about Epic Dreams 2. And now we have our new preset, which is Epic Dreams 2. So now let's begin importing our samples by tapping anywhere in the center. We'll just tap right here on C3. And then what we're going to do is tap on the third option, which is Import Samples. Now here you can browse to your samples. So we're going to go back. We're going to find Epic Dream 2, which is going to be the second folder here. Now what we're going to do is select all these files. So let's tap on the select. And let's begin selecting all these files here all the way to the bottom. And then we're going to tap on Open. Now as soon as we do that, Audiolayer will do its thing, which is going to give us the options of mapping via root key, file name, or sequenced. And what we're going to do is choose the middle option, which is the file name. Because SynthJacker has perfectly named all of our files for us, Audiolayer will be able to pick that up. So let's tap on Auto Map for file name, give that a second, and let Audiolayer do its thing. And there we go, all mapped out and ready to go. Now, of course, something you may want to do real quick is set up a couple of these settings. For example, your release here will go to the level, and then stretch this out so we can hear, because remember there was a little bit of a tail of reverb, so let's just extend this out to maybe 1 or 1.3 seconds. And now when we tap, we should be able to hear that. Alright, that sounds pretty good. Now let's go ahead and load this up inside of CUBASIS 3 with some additional effects. Alright, here we are inside of CUBASIS with this brand new preset loaded up inside of Audiolayer. Let's go ahead and add on the rest of the effects, including an EQ, a wider, and an FAC Altezza. And again, we can do quiet notes and loud notes. So let's see some of these quiet notes. All right, beautiful. Now let's try some mix of loud notes and quiet notes. All right, absolutely perfect. Now what I have is that sound loaded up here as a pluck, as you can hear. And then we also have this preset in this track here that I've labeled chords. And then beyond that, we have a couple other sounds here, such as a muted guitar, a piano, a bass, and a drum loop coming from our brand new Crash drum pack. So now let's go ahead and take a listen to hear what this sounds like. We'll mute the drums and the pluck first, and bring those in after the first 8 bars. So let's see what we have. Alright, there you go folks, it's just that easy. But we really had a super great time with this app, it's super easy to use. And hey, have you ever used this app to sample any instruments in your studio? Definitely let us know in the comments below. Alright, and now it's time again for our final thoughts. And if you're still rocking with us, then we just can't thank you enough for being here, especially those folks that are here every single Wednesday and Friday to watch our live streams and our live premieres. Now we do hope that this video did give you a couple of extra ideas to get creative with your sounds. Because again, once the audio does reach the digital world, the possibilities do become endless. And a huge shout out goes out to apps like Audiolayer for actually supporting the SFC format. Apologies for not being able to demonstrate this app with an actual physical instrument or synth, but the creator does have a couple of videos on that on their channel, and we'll leave a link to that in the description below. And if you didn't hear yet, we just released our very first standalone drum pack called Crash. This pack is going to come with 16 different drum loops and 256 one-shots that really come in handy for a variety of different rock sounds. And just like all of our packs, this is 100% royalty-free and will be discounted by 50% for the first 2 weeks. So if you do want to help support the channel, this is a great way to do that, and you can grab the pack now at MobileMusicPro.com. And plus, we're going to release a bunch more packs in a variety of different genres this year, so if you do want to keep up with everything that we're doing over here at the channel, definitely make sure to sign up for our completely free newsletter at MobileMusicPro.com/newsletter. And so, until next time everybody, keep talking music, and we'll see you later. Hey everybody, Vortex here, and if you're not aware yet, we now have over 100 fully edited mobile music tutorial videos. And we make music every single Wednesday live on our channel right inside of CUBASIS on our iPad. Plus, we also have a bunch of free sample packs, guides, and more at our website at MobileMusicPro.com/free. And so if you are into that sort of thing, producing music on your iPhone or iPad, then definitely make sure to subscribe and check out the rest of the videos on the channel that we know you'll love.